You get teleported to the day you were born with all the memories from your past life, but you're now an infant. What do you do? I would cry like a baby. So would I, knowing what is to come. We talking puberty, corona, or this election? Cause honestly the thought of doing any of those three again makes me wanna take a long walk off a short dock. Probably have some form of internal crisis. You would absolutely go a little nutty. To have the emotional and mental capacity of an adult, but trapped in an infant body with its motor function and no ability to verbalize would be bad. Then what? You're a toddler who talks and feels like an adult? Mom, what do you think about this midterm election? You would be studied by your local university and your parents would understandably be upset. Better to go back to age 14 or so when all of that won't seem insane. Knowing me, forget it all. That'd be sad. Start talking and people would absolutely freak the duck out. I think with the body of an infant, it would be very hard to speak. You could think and get a giant head start. Even plan your first words. But it'd take a couple days at least. Honestly, I would spend most of my time feeling very awkward about breastfeeding and crapping my diaper. Not sure I would want to go there. Potty training should be a pretty quick process at least. Well, as an infant technically all I could do would be cry, eat and shit. Not enough motor or language skills to do anything else, no matter what memories I have. Yeah, you'd basically just be sitting there ruminating on all the embarrassing shit you did in your past life. Which is basically all I do now. But you would have to do it between shitting your pants and crying. Plus, nobody would let you get stoned to escape. Pass. The first words out of my mouth won't be mama or dada. There'll be one ring to rule them all. One ring to find them. One ring to bring them all. And in the darkness bind them. Apostrophe. Just grab your mom's ring and say my precious. Encourage my parents to get divorced much sooner. It's hard to imagine that conversation. Hello mother and father. We've noticed that there is obviously a lot of tension around here every day all of the time. And the two of you do not seem to like each other as human beings. So, just putting it out there, have you considered not being married to each other anymore? Apostrophe. Just flip everyone off. Even my mom. They won't suspect a thing and it'll come off as cute. I've been preparing for this scenario a long time. Me too. It's fascinating. So what you do in your free time? Apostrophe. It's kinda complicated. Feel like an idiot for not remembering any huge lottery winning numbers. But you remember that Bitcoin exists. Same. Interestingly enough, this is the idea behind one of the characters in Jonathan Hickman's X-Men series currently. Moira McTaggart has the mutant ability of reincarnation when she dies. But she is born into the same life with the same parents and time frame, but with all of the knowledge of her past lives. It's very interesting. Probably my favorite comic book run in a long time. Sounds a lot like the first 15 Lives of Harry August by Claire North. Basically the exact same premise, without the mutant part. I'd imagine this definitely is a major influence. I believe one of the arc titles was The Many Lives of Moira X, which seems to definitely point that way. Invest money so I can do fun stuff from age 30. Do better in school. Make sure I still meet my wife. Oh, that's stress. Meeting your wife. That'd be tough. I think meeting my wife would be easy. I know where she lived and what she liked. Should it have to wait 30 years to hear these election results? I would tell people not to tell Trump jokes at that press corp dinner. Yeah, but those jokes were hilarious. MILLIONAIRE% speedrun. Apple, Google, Amazon, YouTube, Tesla, etc. Pretty sure time travel would be the most lucrative business ever. Ed, to the 50th plus person. Bitcoins would be packed of the etc. Apostrophe. Figure out how to talk as soon as possible so I can warn my parents about the hip dysplasia the doctors missed in all of my baby checkups and make sure they do something about it before I start walking and my femur starts sinking into my own body, which is what actually happened. MMMO. Apostrophe. Wow. He says his first words. Mother, go to the doctor and let him check if I have hip dysplasia. Apostrophe. For some reason I imagined that with Stewie Griffin's voice. 10/10ths would imagine again. I would have a really hard time breastfeeding from my mom. Stop shitting and pissing my pants. Cause having my mom or dad clean my Johnson and ass is also pretty ducking weird. I'm afraid you still would though. They won't put you on the toilet. You can't open the door to the toilet. You can't hold it in forever. Pee on my dad. That's funny because, when I was born, as soon as I was released I peed everywhere on the hospital bed. The only time in life I asserted dominance, I guess. Struggle to retain the memories in the context of not even knowing how to control my limbs or focus my eyes. By the time in one they're all gone. This actually is how everybody's life begins. I will write a book about the events that will take place and I will make money on it. Or I will be put in a madhouse. Closed bracket, closed bracket, closed bracket. Or end up in some CIA facility. I'd save my mom from cancer, or at least tell her when she roughly would get it. They didn't catch it until stage 4, and it was too late. I'd use all the money I got from investing and sports bets to treat her and buy her a house. Hopefully make her a grandma. She would have been the best grandma. You're a good man. I'm sure there's a point every once in a while where he'll be thinking everybody talks to me like I'm an idiot. No one's mentioned it yet, but exercise and coordination training would probably be highest on my list. The younger you are, the quicker your body repairs and gets stronger, faster, and more agile with much less pain than you feel now after training. The only reason you didn't do it back then was self-control and the drive to do it. Yoga, gymnastics, martial arts, all can be done while you think and remember what you can, and with better hand-eye coordination comes writing and typing, which you will need for online bank transfers for empire building. I wish I'd started training when I was 2 instead of 22. I'd see it exclusively as a second chance, as a do-over, a way to not duck up the things I've ducked up and not hurt the people I've hurt. Maybe start getting into my interests from a younger age, when my brain is still working like a child's and absorbs knowledge like a sponge. Seriously, I wouldn't even try to exploit my knowledge of the future to make money, or achieve world domination, or help the Sixers get a championship by telling them whom to draft. That seems like hubris. I already have more than enough regrets to keep me occupied without needing to fly too close to the sun. TL. Doctor, a second playthrough where you know how to avoid the newbie traps. More or less the same here. Same, except I would buy bitcoins. Come out the womb not crying. Eyes fully opened, with the most serious face I can make as a baby. Then say this human form is limiting. Freak out that it'd ruin the timeline and never meet my partner or have my daughter. Same, honestly. It would be neat and all to make investments. Do better in school. Get an earlier start on my career, etc. But for all intents and purposes I'm very happy now. And all of the circumstances that lead to this may not happen with some prior knowledge of what's to come. I'd know all of these things about my girlfriend, but she'd have to learn who I'm all over again. You can't fake that bond. Would it come about as organically? I think it almost certainly wouldn't. It may ruin things. In fact. And that's if I even actually met her. Overall, this fantasy of some people's has always been more terrifying to me than thrilling. It's only single people or in bad relationships with no kids who enjoy the idea. For sure. Kick ass at life and do more of what I want to do rather than trying to find myself. Find yourself in someone else. Jiggity. After my dad's appendicitis operation, I'll beg him non-stop to get a follow-up so the doctors can spot the cancer sooner and he can live to see his grandkids grow up. I'll start writing my stories sooner. I'll draw more and more. I'll cut my estranged aunt out of my life sooner. I'll make more friends. I'll get my first job sooner. I'll learn a second language while my brain is still developing. I'll learn martial arts and take better care of my body. Jeez, I'm only 19 and I already have so many regrets. Buy Amazon, Apple, Bitcoin, AMD. I can see that happening. Dunno man. Companies are expensive. I would probably be born with the most shocked face a newborn could muster. But when I finally get the ability to laugh and smile, I'd be the jolliest baby. This would be the best gift ever, and I'm sure as heck not going to waste my second chance in righting my wrongs. Of course it would be a long wait until I was cognitively strong enough to process all my memories and act on them. First thing I would do when I got to school age was mingle more with my friends. Focus on sports and extracurriculars which I regret not prioritizing. And convince my parents to enroll me in violin, piano, and voice lessons. I'm going to make myself into some wonder child and finally use the talents I wasted from being too shy. I'm going to force my parents using my knowledge to predict the future and some religious shit to make them buy bitcoins while it's cheap. Then buy Amazon. And bam, I will be a millionaire. I will also have better grades, be more socially good, and make my cousin go in jail cause he was a child molester and I was the victim when I was 6. And my mom don't want to tell it to anyone. I still have 6 years after that asshole, even in my next life. Make sure my first words to my mother are I'm the Oracle, I'm here to make sure you don't duck up your life. Then proceed to make sure she does not end up in jail, then probably try to stay healthier. Be a child genius. I would make my dad buy like 50 bitcoins in 2011 and boom, we are rich. I would also predict Forex markets and make a shitton of money. Safe to say I'd be a billionaire before 10. Tie the umbilical cord to each of the bars of the hospital bed and fling myself like a angry bird. LMAO. Spend a couple years being very frustrated that I know all this stuff but can't communicate it because I'm a damn baby. Thank you for watching.